So pretty much the biggest thing going on right now in Call of Duty is the Season 4 update and how much of a disaster that was. So there's a video that popped up for me yesterday by Nero, and essentially the title is "They're Done. The Call of Duty community is destroying Activision, and I love it. Worst COD update ever." That's like the overall sentiment behind Season 4, the worst Call of Duty update ever. So I wanted to check this video out. Also, in his thumbnail, he used my thumbnail. He used like Ace's thumbnail. So I'm wondering if my video might actually be in here of some sort. Maybe he took a clip or something. So we'll find out, but let's hear what he's thinking of the sentiment of the Call of Duty community surrounding Black Ops 4.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and I've got to say right here at the very beginning of the video, I am absolutely loving the Black Ops 6 Season 4 update. I truly...
Okay, so here's the difference between Nero and I. I will tell you right away, right at the start of the video. Nero wants the downfall of Call of Duty. I want Call of Duty to do well, right? And you may argue, and Nero might say, oh, I want the downfall of Call of Duty so then it can do well. But I don't want to see the game that I love do horrible things like that. It hurts me. And that's why, like in my video, I said it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to be a Call of Duty YouTuber when that's the stuff that's going on.
It's not because, you know, of the maps or the guns or the new features or the game modes. I am loving this update because it is one of the most broken updates in Call of Duty history, and literally nobody seems to be enjoying it. So just from the outside looking in, like watching everything just melt down online, that's been really enjoyable for me, because in a weird way, just like watching Activision fail has to be one of my favorite things to do of all time. The update is so broken that I don't think I even need to use any of my own footage in this video. I can just show you guys the countless clips and videos posted by the community showing just how broken the update is. Treyarch claimed that Season 4 was going to be fixing a lot of problems, but instead, inadvertently, they would say they have added way more problems to the game than what they set out to fix in the first place. I don't think it's outlandish whatsoever to say that Season 4, across the board, we're talking multiplayer, zombies, and Warzone, has been a complete dumpster fire, and I absolutely love to see that, man. I love to see Activision crumble. I love to see Activision fail because of all the bullshit that they have pulled on us over the course of the past 5 or 6 years. I love seeing the narrative shift within the community, right? I love seeing literally every...
Wait, this is in a game? Is this real?
Every content creator that is not being paid by Activision, by the way, completely tearing apart this new season, because literally nobody, well, nobody who matters anyway, again, paid Activision shills need not apply here, nobody has anything good to say about this new season. It broke multiplayer, it broke zombies, it broke Warzone, they put advertisements in the creative class, they put advertisements in the events tab. The events tab itself isn't even working as of right now. People can't change classes.
So yeah, the events tab wasn't working, and then they removed the advertisements from the events tab, and I think now the events tab is working, but I've seen a ton of people saying double XP, which is the event going on right now, is not working.
It's mid-match without the game crashing. Some people can't even load into matches, and if they do, they're stuck in the loading screen while the match is going on in front of them. The UI is completely bugged and will sometimes show teammates as enemies and enemies as teammates, and sometimes this won't show anything whatsoever, so all players in your lobby will have no icons above their head whatsoever, so everybody looks like an enemy. And this is happening even in ranked play where friendly fire is turned on. Like, imagine trying to climb in ranked play where nobody in the lobby has an icon above their head, so you don't know who anybody is. The update to Warzone has been so broken that they had to delay the new ranked mode, and Warzone itself is crashing all the time for players. And the devs, this has to be the worst part, guys. The devs literally have no idea what they are doing, because what you're about to see next is going to blow your
So here's the thing, right? With what just happened in like first person shooters, if you didn't know, Splitgate 2 came out week or two ago, and the game was busted when it came out. Like, servers were not working, you couldn't get in a lobby, if you did it wouldn't load. Similar things to what were going on with Call of Duty. Within 24 hours, the CEO of the company, not the comms person, the CEO came on, made a video explaining what was going on, who was working on the solution, an estimate of how long it was going to take, and telling us that they are going to make things right, that it was his personal promise. That's how a CEO is supposed to deal with something. That's what a CEO is supposed to do. Come in and solve the goddamn problem. Then we have Call of Duty, who essentially, massive company in comparison, comes in, breaks everything, and they're like, we're working on it. We don't know when we're going to fix, but we're working on it. We have way more people than that company, but we're working on it. And I get it. There's more people playing it. There's more problems with the servers. It's a bigger game mode, things like that. But the difference in seeing that is painful. Painful.
Freaking minds. Here we see from the COD Updates Twitter page, an update has been rolling out that will temporarily disable parachute customization options to promote greater stability across all matches while a permanent fix is investigated. Let me say that one more time, guys. Warzone is completely broken right now, and the developers have no idea why, so their working theory right now is that different colored parachutes are causing the problem, but they're not entirely sure yet.
Hey, might be.
Yeah, they still have to do some more investigating. Like, who is actually developing Call of Duty anymore? How is any of this possible? I know that game development is tricky, especially something like this, but the optics here are just so outlandish, man. A AAA game backed by a $1 trillion company and a franchise that has been going on for over 20 years is out here saying, yeah, we know the game's broken like 8 ways from Sunday. We really don't know why. We're gonna make it so you can't change the color of your parachute. Maybe that will fix it. We don't even know. Like, what the fuck is happening anymore, man? Like, is AI responsible for this? Do we even have any Call of Duty developers anymore? Is it literally all just ChatGPT or something like that? Because how can you not know what is causing the game to break this bad?
I think the actual, like, the real problem with it is too many cooks in the kitchen. Like, if you're actually, like, I know Nero is going for the extravagant, like, dunk on Call of Duty situation right now. But like, if you're actually trying to answer that question, I think the legitimate answer is too many cooks in the kitchen. So many people developing the game that when something goes wrong, they don't know who broke it or how. And that is a management issue. That is not a developer issue. That is the managers of the studio not knowing what's going on with their teams and not knowing what's going on with the code inside of their teams. That's the actual issue. So if this is the problem, and it seems to be every single season, they need to look at what they're doing with their management. Like, that's the actual legitimate solution here.
And even if you do figure it out, how would the color of your parachute be what's causing your game to just essentially die? Like, it makes no sense whatsoever. And look at this video here.
So I actually have a pretty good example of this. So Cyberpunk 2077, I saw a video on this. It was a while ago, but I saw a video on this, and basically Cyberpunk 2077, they had a problem when they were developing that game. They had a problem with developing their cutscenes, where essentially the way that it was developed, they would build a cutscene, and if there was anything wrong with it, they would have to go back to the very beginning and redo it over and over again. So good management, after the death of 2077, came in and said, we need to streamline the way that our cutscenes are made. And instead of just building it over and over and over again, they were able to essentially layer things on with various different teams, and each team being responsible for certain parts of it, and streamline that experience of building it. Because of this, they are going to be able to make expansions for 2077, new games, The Witcher 4, things like that, a lot quicker. So because of that, it's fixed one of the issues they have. Call of Duty has all the same sort of problems where there's all these teams stacked on top of each other, but the communication between management and all of them is broken. So things break, they don't know who broke them, and they don't know how to fix it. Too many cooks in the kitchen. I don't know if that made sense, but I'm trying.
Coming in from the Tactical Brit. The servers are completely busted at this point. The game is unplayable for all intents and purposes.
Like
and I love what he said on Twitter to go along with this video. So here he said, this is the current state of Warzone in Season 4, and it is embarrassing at Call of Duty. Game crashes, game uninstalling itself.
Yeah, that happened to a couple people.
Unplayable, even if you stop lagging. Cheaters, no QA, no testing, nothing. Please hurry up and release something at Arc Raiders game, at Battlefield. We all want to be elsewhere. And I think he's mostly right about that. We do want to be elsewhere. There is such an opportunity right now for a game to come out and soak up all of the Call of Duty refugees.
It is.
They just need to do a better job of handling the game
came out at a
than
good
what
time,
XDefiant
honestly.
did. I also said that he was mostly right, however, and that's because ultimately I think...
Which, by the way, speaking of XDefiant, today is the last day for XDefiant that I'm recording this and streaming. We're going to be playing XDefiant later because it's literally the last day that the game's going to be alive.
A lot of fans want to enjoy Call of Duty again. I do think that's pretty much most of the remaining player base. The community is like part new gens who never knew anything besides skill-based matchmaking and shop bundles, and then the rest of the community are old heads like myself who remember, who know, who experienced just how amazing Call of Duty used to be, and we want to get back to that. I think
we need remastered games. I said it before, I'll say it again. We need like remastered Black Ops 1. remastered Black Ops 2. I think every second year should be a remastered game. I think that's what they need to do now, and don't make crazy changes to it. And you know what? I'm fine if you put some microtransactions in it to make some money. Sell the game for $50, put it on Game Pass. Every second year is a remastered game. Add in the DLC and add in new game modes for events, plain and simple. And then like you can do things to increase retention, like challenges, events, things like that. They won't do this. This isn't a thing that will happen, but that's what I want.
I think a lot of people online misinterpret criticism for blind hatred. I think we saw a lot of that in my video yesterday.
Well, like I said, when you start your video saying I'm enjoying watching someone fail, that's pretty much blind hatred.
And sure, there are some haters out there, but I feel like a lot of the criticism towards Call of Duty is coming from a place of love. People would not be so upset about...
Let's go extreme with this for a second. If you are someone who says, oh man, it's crazy what happened when I saw that person died, or if you're someone saying I enjoyed watching that person die, very two big different types of people, right?
How terribly Call of Duty is doing right now. If they didn't care about the franchise in the first place, they wouldn't be so quote unquote negative about everything if the game didn't stray so far away from what made it fun and successful in the first place. The state of the Call of Duty franchise as it sits right now is arguably the worst that we have ever seen.
That might be true.
I say arguably because I'm having a really hard time thinking of another situation where Call of Duty was as down bad as it is right now. I'm talking down bad in terms of update quality, down bad in terms of stability. I'm talking down bad in terms of bugs and glitches, community sentiment, player numbers.
Hot take on nostalgia is that it blinds people and the games aren't as good as people remember with all the bugs. You are right to a certain extent. There's certain things that even to this day, when I go back and play a game like Modern Warfare 2, for example, and their kill streak system where every single life I have a chance to get a nuke, because if I get 7 kills, I might get a nuke, adds so much replayability to that game, right? Wager matches in Black Ops 1, those were just fun. And yes, there's stupid amounts of bugs. The AK-74U in Black Ops 1 was broken beyond belief for a big portion of the game. But there is still some magic in those games.
And just the overall game feel, has Call of Duty ever been in a worse state than it is currently? I really can't think of a time that's as bad as this. There were some bad times in the past, sure, Vanguard definitely comes to mind, but at least Vanguard was somewhat playable after the devs got back from their vacation. Like, that was like the beginning of the game's life cycle, not 6+ months into the game's life cycle. So I'm having a really hard time thinking of a worse period in Call of Duty history. So that's why I'm going to pass the question off to you guys. What do you think? Like, is this the worst point in Call?
It's close. I think Modern Warfare 2 had some times in there, specifically with Warzone. I think Vanguard is a great opportunity. People will forget this, but Infinite Warfare, there were times that we were down bad. Now the real worry is that next year is supposed to be another Black Ops game. And if another Black Ops game comes out next year and it's not different, like we're talking real different, we are in trouble for next year. So
Call of Duty's history, or was there a worse time? Let me know about that down there in the comments. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there we have it. Season 4 of Black Ops 6 has been an unmitigated disaster, and in a lot of ways, I really love seeing everything break down all at once. If you think about it, in sort of a weird way, an awful, terrible update like we have right now is actually going to do so much more good for the series than an average update. If Season 4 came out and the devs actually did their job instead of just letting AI handle everything, then it just would have been a normal update. It would have went under the radar. The new maps are fine, the guns are whatever, you know, people wouldn't really be talking about Season 4 because it's late May, early June, right? Season 4 was never going to be a blockbuster hit, but because these devs are so bad at their jobs, because they broke everything in the game, because Activision is doubling down and putting shop bundle ads in credit.
So one thing that he said that is true there is Season 4 stereotypically in Call of Duty is normally worse than Season 3. Season 3 is normally peak season until the final season with the Haunting event. And then normally Season 5 is a little bit better. So Season 4 is normally Season 1 and Season 4 are kind of low points. So he's not wrong there, but we have had good Season 4s.
Class, all of that kicked up some controversy, and now instead of everybody just essentially ignoring Season 4 and not talking about it, instead everybody is talking about it. Everybody's talking about.
So when I say next year, the next Call of Duty, I'm talking about like this fall. I don't mean like literally next year.
How terrible it is. Everybody's talking about how terrible Activision is. Everybody's talking about the state of the Call of Duty franchise, and this is certainly not the kind of publicity that Activision was hoping for. They say that any attention is good attention, but I don't think that's true in the case of Call of Duty. When literally everybody is bashing your game, when even
Here's what surprises me is with how bad the servers are right now, the numbers, like the player numbers aren't bad. So I'm recording this at 9:22 a.m. There's 48,000 players on Steam right now. 105,000 in the last 24 hours peak, which would have been Sunday, so that is a bit higher than normal. Last 30 days, it was down 26,000, or we'll say 27,000 players, which is minus 20% after April, which is the launch of Verdansk. So compared to March, the numbers are better, but I think this month is going to be pretty weak. I think we're going to be like maybe 95,000. No, so peak. Okay. This one doesn't show average players, unfortunately. So the peak, yeah, it's not going to be the same as... We're losing players. But it's not in like desperation mode yet.
The most positive content creators out there are calling out the bullshit when Reddit is full of so many people hating on the update that the paid moderators can't even keep up, then you know there is a massive problem at hand. And yes, they do pay the Reddit staff to moderate and remove things. Activision is controlling all of that bullshit. We found that out when they released Verdansk, and any clip that was posted of people cheating on Verdansk was instantly removed by the moderators. So don't trust everything you see on Reddit. They are definitely bought and paid for, but there's still so much hate over there right now.
I actually bet that the Reddit, the Call of Duty Reddit, I bet you that it's actually owned by, like, I bet you like Activision has the keys to that. I'd be willing to bet it. I bet you they don't pay people to moderate it. Well, they might as employees, but like literally I bet you they created it.
That the paid chill moderators can't even keep up. The walls are crumbling around Activision right now. For years, they've had this protective layer of nostalgia and paid-off content creators, but none of that is working for them anymore. The rose-tinted glasses are off. Call of Duty fans have woken up, and Activision can no longer get by simply doing the bare minimum. They pushed out this update, probably thinking to themselves, whatever, I'm sure it's gonna work, when in reality, it's very clear that nobody playtested any of this bullshit whatsoever. I don't understand how any of that is even possible. Just look at me, for example. When I make a video, I edit it the whole way through. I'm a one-man team here. I don't have an editor. I do all my recording, my editing, my uploading. I make my thumbnails in Sony Vegas, for crying out loud. I do everything myself, right? So when I make a video...
You make your thumbnails and you have to mean Photoshop. There's no way you make thumbnails in Sony. I make my videos in Sony Vegas. There's no... Anyway.
I edit it the whole way through, then I render it, then I upload it, right? Usually I don't make mistakes, but that doesn't mean I'm infallible. So while the video is uploading, I watch the full video file back to make sure that I didn't goof up an edit or leave in any unwanted audio. And if I did make a mistake, I cancel the upload before it goes live to your subscription feeds, and I fix that error. Now, have I messed up in the past? Sure.
Who cares about the numbers? Let's be honest. I haven't played Call of Duty in a year now. So the crazy part is if you actually look at the numbers, they're making more money now than they ever have before. So that's the sad part.
But that's maybe a handful of times in the past 14 years. Over 3,800 videos on this channel alone.
That's a lot of videos.
And that's because I take the time to make sure I don't miss anything. So why can't a trillion with a T dollar company do the exact same thing? You have all these people on payroll. You have invested millions of dollars into AI, and you can't quality test an update before pushing it out to the supposed millions and millions of COD fans that we don't have any traceable numbers on? It doesn't make sense to me, man. They just figured they could get by doing the same shit they normally do, and it blew up in their faces this time. It's just like when they thought they could pump out Warzone Mobile with minimal testing and support, and that also blew up in their faces. The new way of doing things over there at Activision may have worked for a little bit, it may have worked for a couple of years, but that time has obviously passed. If they want to see the series actually flourish once again, they are going to have to admit that they were wrong these past 5 years, remove all the bullshit, and actually put work into the game. It's honestly not all that hard, but as always, trying to get Activision to do anything right feels like it's pulling freaking teeth, man. It's talking to a wall with this company half the time, which is why when they fail as badly as they did with season 4, I just gotta sit back and watch, man. I just with a big old smile on my face, like I love to see Activision suffer because of all the bullshit that they pulled on us over the course of the past 5 or 6 years. Ladies and gentlemen, that is where I'm gonna end off this video here today. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts and feedback down there in the comments. Thank you all so much for listening and for your continued support of my channel. And until
just a couple things written in the chat. Season 4 is usually the point where the game The new game smell kind of wears off and the excitement kind of wanes until the final season because it's the build up for the next game. You're 100% correct, and that is why like the current rumor and ideas are that season 5 is going to be all revolving around the announcement of the next game, which is the beginning of August, which we're still ways away from. But yeah, less players but making more money is pretty insane, and that's why they're pushing out all of these advertisements and things that we're seeing. But yeah, it's the community's down bad, and the season didn't have much content in it, and it's 70 days long. People are hoping for some sort of Black Ops 7 or new Call of Duty news this weekend with the Xbox developer direct or whatever they're calling it on Sunday. I highly doubt it. Maybe a mention of we're making a new Call of Duty. I don't even think we're going to get a name reveal. I don't think they know what they're going to call it yet because I think they don't want to name it. That's a whole other video that I'm working on for this week. But yeah, this patch was really bad. This update was really bad and everyone knows it. But yeah, the community's down bad on all of it and everyone's mad at it. And if people keep buying microtransactions, people keep buying microtransactions, man. There's like, at this point, there's nothing I can do about it. I've said my piece and it is what it is. And hopefully it gets better.